Hi, I'm Larry Richardson, your step-by-step chef. In this episode, we're going to make a very easy and delicious vegetable dish, green beans almondine. Now, if you go to my website, you'll find a printable version of this recipe, but you'll also find there a bonus. It is a lemon pepper pork version of this dish. So it's lemon pepper pork green beans almondine, and I hope you'll give that a try too. So come on, let me show you how to make green beans almondine. So here are the basic ingredients for our green beans almondine. First of all, we're going to use a pound of French green beans. These are the really thin ones. Now, if you can't get the thin ones, you can use the thicker ones, but it's going to take you a little longer, just a little longer, to cook the green beans. We're also going to use 4 tablespoons of slivered almonds, and whatever brand you can get is the one you should use. We're going to use 4 tablespoons of butter, and we're going to use 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. And on top of that, we'll add half a teaspoon of salt and 2 cloves of crushed garlic, which the garlic is completely optional. I find that it adds a little bit of depth to the flavoring of this dish, a slight bit of complexity, but if you don't like garlic, leave it out altogether. So come on, let's cook. Okay, the first thing I like to do is prep our ingredients that have to be worked with. And in the case of the green beans, the first thing you want to do is just take a look and make sure that they've been stemmed. Make sure that the stem where they used to attach to the bean plant has been removed. You don't want anything dry and chewy in this dish. And then all I do is I just take the green beans and I just want to cut them down to a smaller size. So I'm just going to line them up. And they've already been rinsed off. And then just cut them at a slight angle, and I would say give them about 2-inch segments. That looks really good. It's just easier to eat that way, so you don't have to spend a lot of time working with a knife when you're eating your green beans almondine. And again, if you have to use larger green beans, a thicker green bean, it's just going to take a little bit longer to cook. I really like these French green beans because they're very delicate in this dish. So now I'm just going to do that again. Just give the beans a little cut. This also makes it easier to work the sauce into it. And I'm going to put the green beans as I cut them into this colander. And this is kind of a casserole-y dish in its own way. It has a lot of butter in it. But it has that slight bit of exotic taste because of the lime. There's more of our green beans. And I'm still keeping an eye out for those, there's one, for those little stemmy pieces. And I just pulled that off. Again, you don't want anything chewy in this dish. There we go. And while I'm doing this, I actually have my frying pan. I have a cup of water starting to boil in it. That's what we're going to place the beans in. And we're going to make them cook just a crisp tender. So it's a very quick process. You don't want the green beans to go completely limp in this dish. Okay. And now all we have to do is crush our garlic. And if you don't have one of these garlic crushers, of course you can mince it. Just make it a really fine mince. You don't want huge pieces of garlic in your green beans almondine. So here we go. There's one. Let me put the rest of that flesh in there. There we go. And there's the second one. And as I always say, if you really don't like garlic, this is optional. But I do find that it adds quite a bit of flavor, actually, to the green beans almondine. Keeps it from just being a lemon dish and with a little bit of almond. And then we'll make our 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. And I tend to like this dish a little bit more on the citrusy side than some people. Maybe it's because I live in Florida, I don't know. But if you're not nuts about lemon, you might want to add just 1 tablespoon of lemon juice to it, and then you can add a little bit more if you want to season it up. But that's totally up to you and up to your taste. So I'm just using the squeezer. And I'm just going to add a little bit more to that. This lemon's a little bit dry. And there we go. Now I'm going to meet you over at the stove. Okay, so here's our cup of water already boiling. Just going to put the green beans right in it. And I'm going to put a cover on that, bring it back up to a boil, and then I'm going to check it in 3 minutes and see if the green beans are crisp but tender. That's what we're shooting for. We don't want these super limp or overcooked. If they're not, I'm going to give them a few more minutes. So 3 minutes later, I give them a little bit of a check. And they're ready. These are ready. So what I'm going to do is turn the heat off, remove them from the heat, put them in that colander and chill them down because I don't want them to cook any more than they're cooked right now. And here is our Almondine saucepan, and I'm putting in our 4 tablespoons of butter, and this pan has been preheated at just under quarter heat. So I just want to melt this butter down. And then we add our 4 tablespoons of almonds. These good slivered almonds. We're going to get these browned up. And as usual, you can adjust this recipe in any way you like to your taste. This just happens to be the way I like it. Okay, so I have these browning over medium heat. You can see that the butter is starting to simmer. I don't absolutely want to burn the butter, so you have to be careful with the temperature. You might want to drop it down just a little bit. I just went back down to quarter heat because mine was really starting to smoke. Okay, about 5 minutes later, I'm pretty pleased with the way the almonds are looking. So I'm adding in my garlic, and I'm going to cook it with the garlic for 1 minute, just to give the garlic a chance to break down and mix in with all the flavors. But you don't want to caramelize the garlic or the butter. So only a minute. And then we're going to take this off the heat and add in the lemon juice. Okay, that's looking good. I'm just going to move the pan to the side. Now I'm adding my ½ teaspoon of salt. There we go. And here comes our lemon juice. And we're just mixing this in. And here's our green beans. And again, I did chill the green beans down so they stopped cooking. I just ran cold water over them in my colander because I didn't want them to get all limp. And you just stir this in. That is one delicious vegetable dish. Green beans almondine. And you can warm this up either on the stove or in your microwave for a minute, make sure that it still has some heat. But this is looking pretty good. That's the way I like it. So congratulations, look at what you just did. You just made this delicious batch of green beans almondine. Now I tend to like mine a little bit on the tart citrusy side. I like the lemon to stand out a little bit. If you don't like your dishes quite as lemony, then just tone it down a little bit. There's no problem at all with that. Now to get a printable copy of this recipe, please visit my website stepbystepchef.com. There you're going to find, again, the printable version of the green bean almondine recipe, and you're going to find dozens and dozens of other delicious meals. So my name is Larry Richardson. I am your step-by-step chef, and I'll see you in the next episode.